Hi, Soren. Greetings from Amsterdam. Thank you for the time. You were supposed to fight against Saul Rogers. When did you get the news that this fight was off? And when did you hear that Charlie Leery wanted to step up?
Yeah, so it's always unfortunate to have an opponent drop out late in the preparation process. That's kind of thing we do a lot of about trying to prepare specifically for each fighter face. So I believe it was like maybe 10 days ago, a week, 2 weeks maybe, that I got the call that Saul was out with an injury, and pretty much right away we started working on a replacement fight. Charlie Leary came up pretty quickly.
I spoke to Mats Burnell 2 months ago about the Bellator event in Copenhagen, and he was very enthusiastic about that idea. You, of course, fought for Cage Warriors in Copenhagen as well. Do you think it will be a good idea for Bellator to visit Denmark in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, me and Mads are both tearing up our divisions, so it would make perfect sense to get into the Scandinavian countries at least, but Copenhagen would be a fine choice.
What do you see when you look at the lightweight division of Bellator MMA? Because this was a division that needed some work, but the promotion has done an excellent job bringing in many strong names like yourself. Do you like what they've done with this division?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, lightweight divisions all over the world are pretty strong. It's a big weight class, so a lot of fighters, of course. But Bellator definitely stepped up the game here. That said, I see myself as belonging in the top 10 rankings in the very near future. And also, I see a lot of potential good matchups I have in the top 10.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you.
Carissa? Hi, Mr. Bak. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us today. So I had just checked. You are currently fighting for the 160 weight contract weight, and your opponent is, somebody to keep an eye on. Do you feel very motivated, and have you changed your training regimen in order to, eventually get the win?
Yeah, so of course, catch weight is never nice. Like, I've been preparing for over 3 months for fighting Saul Rogers and going specifically to 155. So, like I said, it's never nice to have an opponent drop out when you specifically work towards that goal. That said, I don't see we didn't do that many specific changes. Of course, some things because Charlie is a taller guy and his strengths and weaknesses are different than Saul's. But really, when we develop our game plan, it's more of a question of pushing the fight where I got the advantage, and that hasn't really changed with this opponent change. The biggest difference I see, other than Charlie's length and reach, would be I think Charlie is actually a mentally tougher fighter than Saul is.
And you said that, he's a tougher fighter. And do you have, I know a lot of people say that they don't watch their opponents, fights from the past. Are you somebody that does watch it, or do you don't?
Yeah, so when we get an opponent, me and my team of coaches, we sit down and watch every fight we can find on the guy. So we're definitely we're definitely kind of team that specifically looks into what kind of person, what kind of fighter is this, and have they performed in the past, and also look into maybe why they underperformed or overperformed at some venues in the past. And we all put that into our game plan.
All right, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Sean?
Hi, Soren. Sean Sheehan here from SevereMMA.com. Obviously you spoke there about your opponent this weekend, Charlie Leery. And he lost his last fight, but he has some very impressive performances. The Kiefer Crosby win was very, very good. You were preparing for Saul Rogers, who is a good striker, but predominantly a wrestler. Now you're coming in against a guy like Charlie Leery, who was, 10 knockouts, and he's predominantly a striker. Has that been a big change for you? And what do you think of Charlie Leery and his all-around game?
So yeah, it is true that I don't see Charlie being as strong a wrestler, but more of a striker than Saul. So definitely, I mean, at that point in the fight camp, there was not really many tweaks that we could do really to change up that pace. So we're prepared for anything and everything, and some of the tweaks we did was kind of prepare specifically for the kind of combinations that Charlie likes to throw. So I'm gonna be ready for that, and he's not gonna get me knocked out. So I'm gonna get him down on the ground and put on a world of hurt.
A couple of years ago, you fought Morgan Charrier, who is a massive fan favorite over in Paris. Is there any danger you go in and you get a little bit booed? People are remembering that on Friday night?
Well, there might be. I mean, Morgan Charrier, he really, from what I've seen, I've always followed the guys I fought in the past and keep on in their careers. From what I've seen, he really took off after the fight he had with me. He did some cross promotion with a YouTuber, I believe. So he's really big now, and deservedly so. He's one hell of a fighter.
Another guy, obviously, who you fought as well and has gotten very big is Paddy Pimler. That was doing his thing in the UFC, and you beat him pretty comprehensively. What have your thoughts been on Paddy, and people talking about him as one of the best up-and-comers in the world, and it's only, 4 years ago, and you beat him pretty comprehensively?
Yeah, so Paddy is definitely fun to follow. And I mean, he does some things very well. He's very energetic and very entertaining. Also, like, not just in the cage, but on his way to the cage and after, and on his social media platforms. So definitely looking to get a few tips off of him at some point. As to his credibility as the hype around him, I mean, he's done quite well for himself since he fought me, and I think he really used that opportunity with the loss against me to mature as a fighter, and also from what you can see physically on him, he's more a natural lightweight now than he was when he faced me. That said, in the future, maybe one day, it would be nice to run it back.
Last question for me. There's an Irish card coming up in September, obviously, here in located in Ireland. And I think you're supposed to fight in Ireland once before, and it didn't end up happening. Would you like to be on that card with a win here? I know, Kiefer Crosby's not in the promotion before, but he's called you out. There's another few Irish people as well who've called you out. Is there any specific person you'd like to fight in Ireland, or would you like to fight in Ireland?
I would very much like it. I'm on the Viking World Tour, so Ireland is definitely one stop we need to do, and Dublin would be amazing.
Thank you, Soren. Appreciate it.
We do have one written question here from Kobe. He's asking if your opponent, Charlie Leery, shares a style with any of your previous opponents.
Not specifically, I would say. I think, and that also kind of threw us off when we were looking into Charlie. From what I've seen, it's quite unique what he does. It doesn't look very pretty, and I mean, I'm not very solid boxer myself, so I wouldn't begin to talk about his skills there. But from what I've seen, it doesn't look that pretty, but it gets the work done.